So today we're going to be watching a video that's posted from Jack Daly. Jack Daly is a sales consultant. He teaches salespeople around the world. And this video is, I think it's a 4 or 5 part series on YouTube. If you're into sales, this is worth the watch. It's a good video. He has some good techniques that you can utilize in your own sales process and organization. But he tells this story where he works on a newspaper route. And I know this is meant for young entrepreneurs, and newspapers a long time ago used to print at the factory, right? And then they used to have newspaper delivery people. And what that was those were younger people that used to go out. All the papers would be delivered to your house, and you would go out there and you would usually ride a bike or in a car, and you go around and you would just throw the paper onto the front porches of the homes. And so he's telling this story about how he used to go out and, deliver these newspapers in the cold and whatnot. And he talks about how this lesson that he's discussing in the video is about leverage, and how he would use leverage and he would use other people to deliver the paper for him, but he would still collect most of the money. Rather than him going out and doing the work himself, he would go out and bring people on, kids that were younger than him, have them deliver the paper, but he would still collect the most of the money. And so he tells this story, and in the story, and I'll play this story for you. But in the end, the newspaper, he calls the newspaper company and talks to them, and he explains what happens. And this is, in it, he explains the one question you should be asking. If you're a young entrepreneur, the one question you should be asking to help elevate yourself to get where you want to be.
These 5 people did 100% of the work, and Jack kept 70% of the money. That's what I mean by leverage. How can I make more money with less work? How can I generate more business with less work? That year, I was awarded Newspaper Boy of the Year honors, and I waited 2 months, and then I called the company up and I said, my name is Jack Daly. I took a route of 32 customers and turned it into 275 in a single year. And I was awarded Newspaper Boy of the Year honors. Do you know who I am? The guy on the phone said, Jack, everybody at this company knows who Jack Daly is. I said, well, that's really shocking, because I've been waiting 2 months for somebody from the company to say, how did you do that? Don't you think somebody should ask me, how did you do that? And the guy on the phone says, yeah, how did you do that? And I said, well, rather than tell you, I have a proposal for you. Here's my proposal. On any given Saturday, give me 5 kids and put them into a Volkswagen van, and we'll go out to a new territory. Now, I'm going to need a district manager because I'm not old enough to drive. He'll drive us out to this new territory. I want these 5 kids to ghost me on the calls. I want them to see how I say, and why I say what I say. And for those 4 hours on any given Saturday, as many Saturdays as you want, my flat fee will be $100. That was in 1962. In 1962, my father did not make $25 an hour. In 1962, 3 out of every 4 Saturdays a month, I made $25 an hour for 4 hours, plus 70% of the money on 275 papers that I never had to deliver. That's what I mean by leverage. And if a 13-year-old kid can figure this game out, then this room of people here can figure it out.
Okay, so as you heard, the one question is, how did you do that? So many people nowadays, they have this victim mentality. They're this, they're that. They were born this way. They don't have the parents, they don't have they're in a poor neighborhood. They're dealing with health issues or any kind of social issues, right? And if you're watching this video, you're most likely not one of those people. You're most likely a person that wants to elevate themselves, most likely financially, right? You want to start making more money. And so the question you need to ask yourself or keep asking is how did they do that? And that question alone will shift your mind rather than taking the victim mentality of, oh, I came from a broken home, or my father is this, my mother was this, my brothers is this, my sister is that, or I live in a poor neighborhood, or I have nothing, right? Rather than thinking that way, find someone that's successful, right? And rather than that's the other thing too, is, they tax the rich and all this other, I'm not going to get political, but, tax all these people and I don't want to see them succeed, well, rather than thinking that way, the way you should be thinking is rather than being upset with them, you should say to yourself, how did they do that? How did they become who they are, and how did they accumulate the wealth that they have? And I'm not saying copy verbatim everything that they did, but that question alone will help you figure out the steps. And the more you ask that question to more amount of people, the better you'll become, and the more knowledge you can pick, and you can kind of get a little bit from this person, a little bit from that person, a little bit from this other person. And as you heard, I'm not going to play this clip, but Jack Daly says that he had, by the time he was 13, he had a bunch of different entrepreneurial influencers in terms of who he would ask and talk to. And that's kind of how I was, you would talk to these individuals, and he come up with the term model the masters, right? Figure out what they're doing, and just, again, don't copy exactly, but you can base your philosophy and your systems on that. And so that's the one question you should be asking is, how did they do that? Don't, and I still do this in my kids, don't be upset, or don't get upset, or don't be a hater on all these people that are successful. Rather, ask yourself, how did they do that? And what can I do to become successful, right? And again, most of you, if you don't want to be successful, then that's fine. But that leads us down to a different video and topic. But if you don't want to be successful, you just want to skate by and just be like a regular person and just kind of get through life the way it happens, then that's fine. That's your choice. But for those that want to get further in life and excel, not only live life and not only just get through, but thrive. You want to thrive in life. And so if you want to thrive in life, obviously you have to work hard, but you have to figure out, you have to change your mindset and shift it from, all the negative thoughts and all this other stuff to figuring out and model the masters and figure out, how did this person do that? And how can I take what they did and apply it to my life and my situation and what I'm good at, right? Because maybe you're not good at sales, or maybe you're not good at, knowing or having in-depth knowledge of a certain topic. But, again, this is where you can try and figure out and see what other people are doing and just learn from them, because that's the quickest way to learn. I tell this to Kako all the time. The quickest way to learn is not doing it yourself and making mistakes. The quickest way to learn is to ask someone that knows what they're doing and get the information from them. And that's why I'm so big on doing these interviews with, with like Keval Shaw for e-commerce SEO. He's an expert in that. And, I learn all about SEO and specifically e-commerce SEO from him. And we just had another interview with an NIL specialist, an agent, or attorney, trademark attorney, and Christopher, and I learned a lot from him, right? And so find the people that know what they're doing and pick their brain and ask them what they did and how did they do that, and take that and apply it to your own situation, right? And if you need any help doing that, then reach out to someone that can help you, or comment below and let's see, what we can do. But, the main thing is just shifting that mindset from that victim mentality of having all these odds stacked against you, because everyone does, right? Everyone has problems in their life. Everyone has issues, right? And so no one is perfect. No one is just has everything perfect in their life, right? No one does. And if they say they do, they're lying. So change that and change that mindset shift to ask yourself, how did they do that? And how can I apply what I learned from them and apply it to my life to make myself better? And so that's a quick Friday Funds podcast for the young entrepreneurs. Use that, apply that, and be sure to like this video and share it with any of your friends that need to hear this so that they can start improving their life, because who you hang around, who your friends are, and who you associate with is going to help greatly determine, where you go. I know people don't say that, but who your friends are, who you hang around with is important. So you want to be able to hang around with people that are like-minded and want to grow like you do. And so thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next Friday Funds podcast.